Sairam to everyone. Dear students, in the previous class we discussed in Muhammad Ghazni, and in the history, medieval history, especially in medieval India and political transition. We began that lesson and how Rajputs ruled over India. You know, those kingdoms were tiny kingdoms, tiny tots. We can say that a tiny tot kingdom, small kingdoms. But with the advent of Turks, with the arrival of Turks, the political scenario of India had been changed. How it changed? You know that we discussed it. How did Muhammad Ghori and Muhammad Ghazni, they made attempt to seize Rajput parts. Today we are going to see another Turk ruler, Muhammad Ghori. A Turkic dynasty of Shansbani of Ghor region. Once again, a Turk dynasty of Shansbani of Ghor region in Afghanistan. Shansbani. It will look which region, which dynasty was in Ghor region of Afghanistan. Ghor region. Ghor. They came into prominence and ended the rule of Ghazni dynasty. You know that one of the prominent ruler of Ghazni dynasty was Muhammad Ghazni. He made 17 times attack on India. One such brutal attack on Somanatha temple. He plundered, looted everything that you know. That dynasty was kept aside by Ghor dynasty. Ghiyazuddin Muhammad Ghor of this dynasty ascended the throne. He came into prominence. Who? Ghiyazuddin Muhammad Ghori. Ghiyazuddin Muhammad Ghor. He ascended the throne. And he sent his brother Mujahiddin Muhammad to establish Turk rule in India. And what was the intention of these Turks to invade India? In course of time, in those days, India was wealthy country. India was known for trade. India was known for wealth. Indian temples had huge, vast resource of precious ornaments and gold and diamonds. That they came to know. So they sent their troop to India. One such incident occurred here. Muhammad Ghor, Ghiyazuddin Muhammad Ghor sent his younger brother Mujahiddin Muhammad. Who sent? Ghiyazuddin Muhammad Ghor sent. Sent his younger brother Mujahiddin Muhammad to India. He is called as Muhammad Ghori by the historians. See, not Ghiyazuddin Muhammad Ghor, the Mujahiddin Muhammad is called as Muhammad Ghori. He is called as Muhammad Ghori. Muhammad Ghori. He started his first invasion by seizing Multan. Now it is in Multan region, Multan in Pakistan. And he wanted to recapture the places of Sindh that were under the rule of Muhammad Ghazni. See, this Muhammad Ghori was aggressive and he was very, very ambitious to conquer the Indian region. In that, he took many steps. In the first steps, he conquered Multan. See the Google image. Okay, Multan. But he wanted to capture the places of Sindh, Indian region, Sindh region, that were under the rule of Muhammad Ghazni. So he invaded Anilwada of Gujarat and got defeated there. See, he made an attempt to acquire the part of northwestern part of India. See the Indian map. See the Indian map. Northwestern part. That means you know that the Sindh region. But Muhammad Ghori was defeated there. When he tried to conquer Anilwada, he was not successful in his effort. There he was defeated. This defeat made Muhammad to change his plan, and he attacked Peshawar and conquered it. Peshawar, formerly it was known as Purushapura. Purushapura. Still Peshawar is also at present Pakistan. See, the defeat can taught us a lot of lesson. This is the best example. Muhammad Ghori did not lost his heart. Instead of that, he changed his plan. He changed his strategy. He changed his plan of action plan. So he then he attacked on Peshawar and conquered it. Then Khusro Malik of Lahore surrendered. See how step by step Muhammad Ghori conquered. How step by step he acquired the pie. Pie means, you know that, pie, food, acquired his pie. Then Khusro Malik, he was the ruler of Lahore. He was also surrendered. By seeing the aggressiveness of Muhammad Ghori, he surrendered. By keeping Lahore is center. See, after defeating Khusro Malik, he captured Lahore. Lahore is at present in Pakistan. He made Lahore as his center. It means by keeping Lahore is his center, Muhammad attacked the plains of India. Plains of India. This attack was naturally resisted by the ruler of Delhi. When he tried to attack on plains of India, meantime, the ruler of Delhi was one of the strongest Rajput ruler, and he was known for bravery, he was known for archery, and there are so many legendary stories are there. It is none other than Prithviraj Chauhan. Prithviraj Chauhan. Prithviraj Chauhan defeated Muhammad Ghori. He defeated Muhammad at Tarain in 1191 CE. Who defeated? Prithviraj. Prithviraj Chauhan defeated Muhammad Ghori in 1191 CE. Where did he defeat Muhammad Ghori? He defeated Muhammad Ghori at Tarain. This battle is called as Battle of Tarain. First Battle of Tarain. Already I mentioned, that Muhammad Ghori did not lose his heart when he was defeated at Anilwad. The same strategy he picked up. Then Muhammad returned to Ghor and again faced Prithviraj Chauhan, third at Tarain in 1192 CE. See, again Muhammad Ghori faced Prithviraj Chauhan at Tarain. What happened? What happened in the second battle of Tarain? This time he made a lot of preparations. He made lot of preparation, war preparation. In this battle means the Tarain battle second, the archers of Turk succeeded. See, those Turks were very good at archery. They were successful. Then the quicker cavalry, the brisky cavalry, active cavalry of Turks dispersed the Rajput army with slow moving elephants. See, cavalry are faster than that elephants. The quicker cavalry of Turks dispersed the entire Rajput army with the slow moving elephants. In the first battle of Tarain, Govindarao and Bola, who played a pivotal role, they were the aides of Prithviraj Chauhan. Govindarao and Bola, they played prominent role in the first battle of Tarain. What happened them in the second battle of Tarain? What happened them in the second battle of Tarain? Govindarao and Bola, who were instrumental in the Rajput victory during the Tarain battle, were killed in this battle. Both were killed. Then Rajput army was completely vanquished. Vanquished means dispersed here. Prithviraj Chauhan was imprisoned. Prithviraj Chauhan continued to rule for a while after his surrender. There are so many stories are there, legendary stories are there. But in this textbook they mentioned that Prithviraj Chauhan continued to rule for a while after his surrender. Muhammad appointed his slaves to take care of the areas which were owned by him in India. It means Muhammad Ghori did not remain here, he went back to Ghori. Ghori means Ghor region. But the region which were conquered by Muhammad Ghori were looked after by his slaves. That we are going to see in the next classes also. Okay, Muhammad appointed his slaves. He got murdered. Means Muhammad Ghori got murdered on his way back to Ghori. Children, now I'll ask some questions. In the previous, I won't send any questions via WhatsApp. I know that you won't go through the video. It is not compulsory to watch the video, but at the same time, we are sparing our time to give you something good. But you are not doing so. We are not doing, that online classes like on Zoom classes or Google Meet. If we do so, it is burden on the part of you and your parents, and you have to keep mobile always with you only. That is why we avoided that, and we are doing video and sending via YouTube. But you are not watching. That is why I ask some questions in the middle of the lessons. Okay, now note down my question. Who played instrumental role in the first battle of Tarain? Or question, mention the two commanders of Prithviraj Chauhan who played instrumental role in the Rajput victory during the first Tarain battle. Two questions. When was the first battle of Tarain taken place? When was the second battle of Tarain taken place? mention the list out the reasons for the failure of Rajput army in the second battle of Tarain. List out the reasons for the failure of Rajput army in the second battle of Tarain. Okay, these questions. Now let us see. Muhammad Ghazni and Muhammad Ghori, they made so many attacks on India. Already explained, already mentioned. This changed the course of Indian history. This changed the scenario of Indian political system. Now we are going to see the political implications of their attack. Okay, let's see political implications. Political implications. In the previous class, I mentioned this era is transitional. This era is transitional. In which manner we can say that it is transitional? How can we say it is a transitional period? That we know. Already I gave some tips. Formerly in India, there were so many tiny tots, means small kingdoms were there. But here, with the arrival of Ghazni, Muhammad Ghori and their slaves, they brought unified system of administration in India. That is the political implication now we are going to see. The victory of Ghoris. The victory of Ghoris had many major political implications in Indian political footprint. They left their political footprint in different way. Means the political system consisting of small kingdoms were vanished. What? Small kingdoms. The political system, kingdoms were vanished. Were vanished means this. Then a centralized rule of Sultan. Second point is centralized rule of Sultan came into being. What is this? But in present political system, you know that democracy, the power is divided. In somewhere it is quasi-federal system. In somewhere it is quasi-centralized system. But in democratic way, but I am giving the hints. The present government, you know that the power is divided. Central government, state government, after that Jilla Panchayat, Taluk Panchayat, village Panchayat. In that way, the political system was decentralized. With the arrival of these Turks, they brought centralized rule of Sultan, who had immense power. He had immense power at Delhi, and that type of power came into existence. This is the political implications. As a result, the entire northern India came under the control of these sultans after Harsha. Who is Harsha? Harshavardhan, the one of the famous rulers of Vardhana dynasty. During Harshavardhana, major part of the North India were under the control of Harsha. After Harshavardhan, these regions came under tiny rulers. Tiny rulers means small patches of patches of regions came under their control. But once again, they changed the political scenario. That means centralized system. The system of administration was different from Rajputs. The Sultan had the absolute power of either by appointing or dismissing all officials. See, he had such an authority he had. He is everything. He was everything. He is the final jury. He is the final judge. Like that. And then The Sultan had the absolute power of either appointing or dismissing all officials. The military administration was also clearly unlike the previous one. Then soldiers were appointed directly by the sultans. See? Then soldiers remained loyal directly to the sultan himself, not to commander or anyone. In that way they accumulated the power. See? Even a single soldier was appointed by the sultan. In that way, these soldiers were loyal to the king. See, here after 8th century, this type of political implications India had. Then, with the departure of Muhammad, his slaves started strengthening their rule in areas conquered by the Turks. Who are the slaves? Muhammad Ghori had a prominent slaves, loyal slaves. They looked after the regions conquered by Muhammad Ghori. See, after conquering all these regions, he did not remain here. He went back to Ghori. But while going back to Ghori, he got murdered. That is separate thing. But who looked after all these territory in India? His slaves. Thus, slave era began in India. Now, we are going to see the slave dynasty and who is the founder of slave dynasty, who is the pioneer of slave dynasty, who brought such changes in Indian political. Now we are going to see with the ascending of Qutbuddin Aibak as a ruler of Delhi, we can start the lesson, the slave dynasty. With the departure of Muhammad Ghori, his slaves started strengthening their rule in areas conquered by the Turks. Already I mentioned a name, Qutbuddin Aibak. Qutbuddin Aibak. Who is this Qutbuddin Aibak? He was a slave. Qutbuddin Aibak was a slave who was very close to Muhammad Ghori and enjoyed the confidence and made Delhi the erstwhile capital of Chauhans as his center of administration. See, after the departure of Prithviraj Chauhan, they acquired Delhi and they made Delhi as their administrative capital, administrative centers. Then other military generals of Turks who had remained in India accepted Qutbuddin Aibak as their sultan. See, so many territories were looked after by some slaves. Other officers also accepted. Qutbuddin Aibak became their sultan. Qutbuddin Aibak became the founder of Ghulam or slave dynasty. Who is this? Qutbuddin Aibak is the founder of slave dynasty or Ghulam dynasty. Question, note down the question. Who is the founder of Ghulam dynasty? Who is the founder of Ghulam dynasty? Okay, the rule of Turk which started by Aibak was continued by, you know that, Khilji, Tughlaq, Sayyid, Lodi, and it continued till the arrival of Babur. It continued till the arrival of Mughals. Today we discuss it. Muhammad Ghori and Battle of Tarain, and first Battle of Tarain, second Battle of Tarain, and the prominent commanders who played a noble role and prominent role, pivotal role during the first Battle of Tarain. the remaining. I hope you'll go through the video and note down all the questions what I mentioned during my session. Please note down that and answer them. We'll see in the next class. Sai Ram.